Nice and breezy out here today, you all. Nice and breezy.
You see, there's just one thing I would like to know. What's the problem? What's the problem? Tell me, what's your problem? So what's the problem? Five, four, three, two, one. What's the problem? Tell me, what's the problem? So what's the problem? Tell me. Five, four, three, two, one. So what's the problem? Tell me. I wanna know. Oh, tell me. So what's the problem? I wanna know. Oh, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what's the problem? Tell me. I wants to know.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of So What's the Problem TV show. This month we are going to discuss breast cancer awareness. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so tonight I have two guests who have survived breast cancer. And you're going to get to meet them. If you have questions, please text your questions to 407-914-6519, and we will ask either of them to address it. I'd like to also mention how grateful we are to all of the supporters who have been helping the state of Florida recover from Hurricane Ian. We have been tragically devastated by Hurricane Ian, and it is going to take a huge effort to get our lives back to normal. As you know, some of our residents lost their lives, and we'd like to offer our condolences to their families. We are just so very sorry. And if there's anything we can do, please let us know. Text your questions to 407-914-6519. My first guest tonight is Sophia Dallas, and Sophia Dallas is an advocate and a survivor of breast cancer. We're going to be bringing her on right now. Come on in, Miss Dallas. Hello there.
Hello, Loretha. How are you?
I am so fine, and I appreciate you so much, your patience and your cooperation and your willingness to come on the show, which is live, to share your history with breast cancer, your survival, and the fact that you are a serious advocate. You are. I am so proud of you, Sophia. So go ahead and introduce yourself to our guests, our audience.
So my name is Sophia Marie Dallas. I'm a resident of Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm also the CEO and founder of Sisters Supporting Sisters. It is a breast cancer advocacy organization. Right. Our focus is the Black woman, but we service all women in our organization. We mentor women. We help them with food preparation according to their nutritional diet. We also do light housekeeping for them as well as while they're going through treatment. And all these services are free from our organization. So I am a breast cancer survivor, of course. Yes. And I'm happy. And yeah, people say, how are you happy to say that? You know, I always tell people cancer does not equal death.
No.
Cancer equals life.
Awesome.
And the more that they can see survivorship, someone that is coming on the journey, it gives them confidence, you know, and to rebuild a person's faith. I found that faith was so imperative during my journey.
Okay.
It is what gave me strength.
Okay.
And I tell individuals, I'm not strong. Strong is like a word I don't even like anymore. I tell individuals I have a lot of strength. And that is on the foundation of my faith in my higher power. And so, because the biggest bridge can be strong, but if something hits it, it is not considered strong at that point in time until it's inspected.
Like a hurricane. Yes. Absolutely.
So many thought this was strong. It's been standing all these years from this one, and this one. But this last hurricane, as you said earlier, much prayers out to everyone, no matter how small or big their disaster is for them.
Exactly.
It's big for anyone.
It is really big.
We're not directly impacted. We have loved ones. We have people we know.
That's
and
true.
So when you can't reach out and touch, that's a mental, thing for that individual person. And that's what happens when you go through cancer as a caregiver. So what I do, and during my journey, I'm a triple negative breast cancer survivor.
Okay.
And what that means is that I am missing my estrogen, progesterone, and I'm missing my HER2. And those are very important hormones that cancer generally feeds off of.
Okay.
So depending on whether you have the estrogen, don't, progesterone, so on down, it determines your level of treatment.
Okay.
And for me, being triple negative, I have no treatment options. I'm limited to my options.
Okay.
And I had a nurse describe it best as if you take a seed and put it in the ground and you nurture it with the good compost, it grows into a beautiful whatever it is of that seed. But triple negative breast cancer seed, you can throw it on the concrete and you're going to get the same result. So it doesn't need anything to feed it. It does everything on its own. And so I encourage my clients when they get sad, they get upset. I said, you know what? But you have options.
Okay.
You have options. Besides your faith, you have options for treatment. There's so many that haven't made it to that point. And
That's
so during my journey, I just kept seeing a lot of women sad in the lobby. And I kept saying, oh my God, this hurts. To see someone sitting there so sad, like they have that mentality of cancer and death at that point.
Of course. Yes.
They don't have the mentality of life.
No.
And so I never asked God, and I never will, because, I was raised Kojic and Pentecostal.
Okay.
So I never asked God why.
Right.
I asked him what was my purpose.
Okay.
And to show me my purpose. And so that's when I finished treatment, got back up, feeling a little bit better. I always said, sisters have to support sisters. What's going on? Why isn't someone with someone when they're in that lobby waiting to see the oncologist on that first appointment?
Yes.
Or to see the primary, to talk about referrals.
Yes.
Just to guide them along.
Yes, you need an encourager with you. You really do.
No matter what you're going through, if you're going through a traumatic incident, a health issue, it's always good to have someone to be supportive with you.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I wanted my organization to be about, is support, advocating and educating women about their health care, not just cancer. If they have underlying health issues, let's tackle those as well. You can't just tackle the big one and not tackle the little ones. They all have to be addressed. So I
Uh-huh.
started the organization, a 501
C3.
C3, and
Mhm.
I'm happy about it. I thought I was retired. And I'm pretty sure you and Miss Angie were like, we retired, but I
Uh-huh.
still like it, you know?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I give my all to it. We do outreach within our communities. Anyone
Okay.
that asks us to come speak, set up,
Uh-huh.
our goal is to sign women up who are uninsured, uh,
Oh,
40 and older, and uninsured, have
okay.
no insurance. We sign you up to get a
Okay.
free mammogram through Advent Health, and they
Okay.
have a program where you can get a free mammogram. And what I like about the program is that if something comes about that you are positive for carcinoma, that
Mm-hmm.
program still covers your care. They make sure
Okay.
you have appropriate coverage all the way through the process. And so
Mm-hmm.
I tell women, do not take the $30 mammogram because there's some fine print that
Okay.
doesn't cover you from the diagnostic to the pathology, which can be a very expensive bill.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to reach out and let women, educate women about breast cancer. And it's not, and about their family history. It's so important with genetics.
Really?
Oh, yes. People say, oh, is it hereditary? No,
Uh-huh.
no, 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 no.
Uh-huh.
I
It's
went to
not.
a conference with Sisters Network in Orlando, a luncheon, and they had a
Mm-hmm.
geneticist there. And she said, hereditary is 5%. 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Genetics is a whole different ball game all by itself. Yes, you want to be cognizant of people in your family, male or female, what
Right.
type of cancers were going on, because that is important in doing a family history.
Right.
And so that way the geneticist can go through everything with you. If there's
Mm-hmm.
different races in your family, different lineages, and that's all imperative because there's certain different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you go Eastern, when you go
Mm-hmm.
into the Greeks and Polish. There's different cancers that trigger to that genealogy.
Let me ask you this
Yes,
first,
ma'am.
because everybody is just not aware. So tell me, what is breast cancer? What is it? And why does it attack us so? What is it?
So breast cancer is, of course, as it can come in different forms. It doesn't just have to be like right here. It can be in your
Mm-hmm.
milk gland. It can be in a lot of places. And so what we want
Mm-hmm.
to do is, when you're talking about breast cancer, it can be isolated in your ducts. It can be
Mm-hmm.
isolated in your tissues of your skin. It can
Mm-hmm.
metastasize. It can do a whole lot of things. But what I tell people is that, breast cancer is the formation of cells in the breast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And those cells mutate. We all
Right.
have a cancer gene in our body,
Oh, okay.
every last one of us. Whether
Okay.
it mutates or not is
Mm-hmm.
different for each individual person. No one
Okay.
can tell you what can do that,
Mm-hmm.
but it can happen to anyone. So breast cancer, it occurs really mostly in women.
Okay.
Sometimes you can see it in men, but what
Mm-hmm.
we've learned is that you get a lump. You'll have a lump, and then sometimes you can have a discharge from your nipples. So that's not normal.
Okay.
I'm 50 years old. I shouldn't be breastfeeding, thinking I'm breastfeeding.
No, absolutely not.
That's not. And if it's sensitive and it
Mm-hmm.
hurts, it's
Mm-hmm.
swollen, and it kind of changes to your breast, you
Okay.
need to definitely address it with your primary, so
Okay,
you
that's
can
a symptom.
definitely get a mammogram done, even if you're not even 40.
Mm-hmm.
I tell women you must check your breast monthly,
Every month.
every month. And what I
Mm-hmm.
tell women, use your numerical date of your birthday. So if you're
Okay.
born on the 3rd, check your breast on the 3rd of every month. If the first
Okay.
of the month is good for you, the 15th, use one of those dates so you can check yourself.
That's
And
a
with
great tip.
Yes,
That's a
it
great tip.
definitely is. It is so imperative. If someone
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a shower card for, checking their breast, I have shower cards, and so we take those everywhere we go. We
Okay, so I know what a shower card is, but go ahead and tell everyone else, what's a shower card, Sophia?
So a breast cancer shower card is. Let me get one for you.
Okay.
Let me get one for you. Hold on.
All right. She'll be right back. She is going to get a breast cancer shower card to show us an example of how all women should be checking their breasts every month, and she suggests that you use the date of your birth. I'm born on the 9th, so that means on the 9th of every month, I should do a breast check. I should check my breast while I'm in the shower every month. So that sounds like an excellent idea. Volusia Business Women is a website that was co-founded by none other than Angie B and Loretha Simon. And we are stronger together because we encourage everyone to have an affordable website presence. If you're an entrepreneur, you need a website presence. We offer that for you at volusiabusinesswomen.com. So go on and check us out. Our logo was designed by none other than Divine Doves Designs. That graphic designer is Sonia Niles. She can be reached at 386-690-2918. And we are very proud of the diversity and the beach and the bright sunshine that we get here in Volusia County. Angie B and I produce pop-up shops. We have been doing pop-up shops since the spring of this year, and they are a wonderful opportunity for us to network with different entrepreneurs throughout the county. Unfortunately, because of Hurricane Ian, we have had to cancel our latest pop-up shop, which was going to be this coming Sunday at IHOP. So you may look forward to gathering again with Angie B and Barty Productions and myself with Lolo's social media promotions and with Volusia Business Women and with other entrepreneurs and community leaders throughout Volusia County. You may go online at volusiabusinesswomen@gmail.com to register for an upcoming event. We're inviting everyone, and we would love to network with you. Books and Besties is a wonderful book fair event hosted by my bestie, Angie B, and myself. Our next event is Sunday, December 11th of this year from 2 until 6 o'clock p.m. It is a 4-hour continuous book fair event, and we invite authors if you've written a book or if you'd like to write a book, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, and community advocates. We learn about your business, your services, your products, and any upcoming event and more. It's a wonderful online networking event, and we look forward to you joining us. Please send an email to volusiabusinesswomen@gmail.com. We allow advertising and guest feature opportunities. We look forward to hearing from you. Books and Besties. Hey, Miss Dallas.
Hi.
Did you
I
find it?
apologize. Yes, ma'am. I do have it right here. I have
Okay.
the card.
Okay.
So what it is, usually you can get these at any imaging center
Oh,
that you have a mammogram done. And
okay.
especially in the month of October, they always have them laying around. But
Okay.
definitely always ask if you go to any month outside of October, ask them for a breast self-exam card that you can possibly hang up in your shower, or you possibly can, stick it on a wall, on your mirror, things of that nature. So
Okay.
what the card is, this breast cancer card, it tells you about self-examination,
Okay.
gives you actual pictures. So it's not just words, and it tells you how to examine yourself appropriately. And while you're in the shower, while you're laying down, while you're standing up in front of a mirror.
Okay.
And so on the back of it, it gives you preventative information about breast cancer. And, in that preventative information, it talks about, try to avoid alcohol if you can,
Okay.
and secondhand smoke.
Okay.
Try to avoid those things. Exercise as much as you can, at least 30
Mhm.
minutes, 3 times a week if possible. And they
Okay.
also say, women between the ages of 40 and 44 should start definitely checking themselves
Mhm.
and knowing your family history again.
Is
Because if you
important.
have a deep family history of cancers,
Okay.
you want to express that to your primary care physician. Now, if
Okay.
you think about it, when you go to the doctor and you
Mhm.
fill out those pages and pages,
Yes. Yes.
you just want to rip up how much of those questions deal with cancer.
Not very many, I don't think.
And I've had some that don't address
Wow.
it at all.
But it is important.
But it is important to annotate that and talk with your primary care physician about
Okay.
that so
Okay.
that you can put them on the alert and
Mhm.
they can, and it's all about diagnosis codes. They can
Right.
put the proper codes on that script, get that
Mhm.
authorization from
Mhm.
your insurance company, and you can be 28 years old and still get that mammogram done. And
Wow.
then thus
Okay.
it puts you on track to be
Mhm.
monitored, puts
Okay.
you more in tune to yourself to check you. Your
We
nerves.
will be right back in just a moment. I obviously need to have a commercial break, Sophia. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
This is an emergency. Emergency transportation costs can be more devastating than the accident. Join AMBA for a free seminar on how to secure emergency air and ground transportation coverage and protect yourself and loved ones from unexpectedly high costs. A MASA Emergency Transportation Seminar is coming up soon. Medical Air Services Association Incorporated, MASA, has safeguarded futures since 1974. With over 2 million members, MASA benefits include ground ambulance, helicopter ambulance, fixed wing air ambulance, and many more. There is a free seminar coming up soon. Contact your MASA representative, Debbie Scarborough, at 229-392-6983. That's 229-392-6983. Or send an email to debbie.scarborough@amba.info. A member of the Georgia Retired Educators Association. Protect yourself and loved ones from unexpectedly high costs. Medical Air Services Association, Incorporated.
Hi, everyone. Cam here from Management Consultative Favor. Mac Favor. Just reaching out to remind you of some of the awesome services that we do provide once more to community-based providers throughout the country. And so these are your licensed clinical social workers, your psychologists, your behavioral analysts, case management organizations, nonprofits, and so forth. We help them with creating community-based programs. And so these can be anything from helping them design and implement a program. It can be with helping them get credentialed on insurance panels. It can be with making certain that they're compliant with different regulatory statutes. This is what our project management firm does, and we do it gladly with a servant's heart. Why? Because we got the favor of the Lord on our side.
Hello and welcome back. I have another guest I'd like to introduce to you. Her name is Debbie Scarborough. She is more than a guest. She is a friend and a colleague of both Angie B and Barty Productions and myself. She is also my insurance representative for life insurance. Her name is Debbie Scarborough. Come on in, Debbie.
Hello, my favorite Daytonian.
Hi, Debbie. It's so nice to see you. What's going on in Tifton, Georgia?
Well, it's pretty dry right now. We did not, thankfully, get any bad weather that y'all got.
Great.
But we didn't even get a drop of rain, so we would have liked to have had a little bit.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, we got a little bit too much and we're dealing with it, but thank God you're here. I appreciate you being on the show because I was not aware, Debbie, that you are a cancer survivor. Yay!
Yeah, I really don't like saying that, and I really haven't said that for a long time because, Dr. Howard said I had the good cancer, and I didn't know that there was a good cancer or a bad cancer.
Right.
But I guess I say it's a good cancer because it was caught very, very early.
Okay.
It was endometrial cancer. It was caught at stage 1. So all I had to do was have that radical hysterectomy. And I had no chemo or radiation.
Really?
And I was 42. So now I'm 54.
Okay.
So, yeah. And every year I go back for my screenings. And I really, encourage women. I know we're the last ones we take care of.
Yes.
And I will be quite honest, I was antsy to get out of the doctor's office that day. And my nurse practitioner said, no, you need to talk to Dr. Howard about having this procedure.
Okay.
She recognized that I was sort of having problems. And because of that type of cancer, my mother had cervical cancer. My grandmother had ovarian cancer.
Okay.
So I checked.
Oh, very good.
So I stayed that extra 2 hours waiting for Dr. Howard. So it was a good thing because if I would have just left and come back the next year, it probably would have been stage 2 or 3, and that probably would have resulted in some chemo.
Okay, so looks like we already have a question, and it is, do you still wait 5 years before saying you're healed?
I think that's a tough one, and I think it varies between who you are. But the good news for me and for my insurance company that I represent, Cigna, is Cigna will allow you to buy a cancer policy if you've been cancer-free for 5 years. So I say you're healed. If Cigna says you're healed and you can buy a cancer policy, then 5 years is the magic word.
That is awesome. And has it been your experience, Debbie, that even after 5 years, could you possibly see the cancer come back?
Yes. And most likely for me, probably not. But I'll be honest, I have been watching because I've kind of followed my mother's footsteps, and my mother had colon cancer at 67. Luckily, caught very early at stage 1. So, of course, I keep up with those fun exams too. And
oh my gosh.
So yeah, I mean, I think whether it's breast cancer or ovarian, any type of cancer, there's always a chance of something coming back or another cancer.
That it can come back. Okay, Debbie, I'm going to bring Sophia Dallas back because not only is she a cancer survivor, but she is a serious advocate. And she has a community-based organization. There she is. Hello, Miss Dallas.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Meet Debbie Scarborough.
Hi.
Yes.
Now, did you hear what Debbie said? Debbie said that she was stage 1 and that she caught it early, and unfortunately, she did have a history of cancer in her family. And so someone asked a question, can you say that you're healed after 5 years? So how would you respond to that question?
Like Debbie said, that's everybody's own choice.
Really?
Some people use that I'm cancer free. Some people say I'm cancer free. Some people say I'm in remission.
Okay.
So it's the individual person has
Okay.
to decide that.
Mhm.
For myself, I say I'm in remission
Okay.
because cancer can be microscopic
Mm.
and not seen. So you can go through all that treatment,
Really?
and you ever see people, you've seen this, people go through treatment, and Debbie, you've seen this, people go through treatment, they do the 6 months of chemotherapy, they do the 5 weeks of radiation, 5 days a week. They're good for 6 months, less than a year, they're back at the drawing table.
Really? And why is that? See, I don't understand.
Cancer is microscopic.
Right.
They get it down to a certain size for surgical purposes, especially if it's really large. If it's really small, they'll go ahead and try to do a lumpectomy. But if it hits the lymph nodes, you're an automatic radiation candidate.
Okay.
Everything is always medical. It's a patient's choice.
Okay.
But if cancer hits your lymph nodes, they automatically put radiation on the table, no matter how small. My client had a very less than a centimeter in one of her lymph nodes that was tested. Automatic radiation.
And what does the radiation do? And then, Debbie, you can answer that question, or whichever one of you know the answer is breast cancer in men too. But what does the radiation do, Sophia?
So the radiation acts like chemo, but it acts like a beam. It's like you're burning it down. You're when you hit something with a wave, and it's a chemical as well, but it's a wave, and they're hitting it and they're breaking it down. They're like making it down to nothing. They're I can't think of the word. You know what I'm trying to say, Debbie? They demolish it. Like the Superman that beams the eye and it's gone. That's what it is. It's like a Superman eye. It's gone. I can't think of the word.
Okay.
So, but that's what the radiation does. But at the same time, radiation, like when you go in the sun, you stay in it too long.
Right.
You burn your skin. So that's one of the side effects of radiation is the burning of the skin. You don't lose your hair in radiation. Most people, when they do finish chemo, their hair starts growing back. And during radiation, so that's not a side effect. You may be a little extremely tired. Some people may be a little nausea, but radiation, it's not a breeze because it is 5 days a week for 5 to 6 weeks.
Right.
And for the most patient, and it hurts.
I bet
because they can take the radiation and it hits a particular target.
Correct.
Okay.
When you chemo, you think of chemo, that's something that's injected and it's going all through your body.
Okay.
Yes. And chemo, when you do that chemo, it's a minimum of 3 months to 6 months, depending on your health condition and if you have no underlying health issues.
Right.
If you're HER2 positive, which I have a client is, you have to do they recommend you do 1 year of immunotherapy. And what happens once you finish that chemo, you finish that radiation. If they, after that chemo, and you get, let's say my client, she has to get the lump removed now.
Right.
Because it was so big. Radiation shrunk it, the different meds in there shrunk it down. Now it's operable. And once they get that pathology report back, and if there are no cancer cells, they can remove the chemo out of the immunodrugs.
Really?
But if there is cancer still in that margin that they cut out and set, that chemo stays in that immunotherapy for another year. And because, cancers, they have different grades. People say, oh, I'm a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Yeah, you can be a stage 1, but if that grade is a 3, that grade determines how fast it grows.
Oh.
But it could be growing like this, and that's scary because that means they have to be very aggressive because you go every 21 days, depending on your regimen. You may go every 2 weeks. And go. I have a client that goes every other week for 3 days in a row because she didn't want the massive dose. She wanted it spread out. So that's how she going. And so they really do
Yeah.
try to accommodate patients. Yes, it is a rough thing. And so the 5-year thing,
Mhm.
each individual person
It's different.
is
So,
different.
so let me ask you, Debbie, because I know it's very expensive. I currently have 3 members in my church congregation who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. It is extremely expensive for the surgery. So, Debbie, do you have insurance that will cover cancer treatments?
Well, yes, and the good news for those that have medical insurance,
Uh-huh.
yes, your medical insurance is going to pay for a range of cancer surgeries and treatments. What you have to keep in mind, and what you're going to see experiencing with your ladies at the church,
Uh-huh.
there's a study that says 60% of the costs associated with a cancer diagnosis have nothing to do with medical insurance. It's that help with what Miss Dallas helps with, help going to the doctors, help just being with someone after those chemo treatments. Because, you know, me, I'm very fortunate. I'm married. My hubby's here. He can hold my hand over the toilet and pick me up. But for some women who are single, you don't have that support system. So you need to find that. And sometimes we can find friends or family to help us out for a couple weeks. But when you're talking about a cancer treatment for 6 months, so that's why most people invest in a cancer treatment policy or a cancer first diagnosis policy, because it gives you money. A first diagnosis policy gets you money firsthand. You go, you have your mammogram, they tell you it's cancer, you get $5,000, $10,000, $30,000 payable directly to you at before you even start treatment, probably. Then a treatment policy pays a lot of things after. It'll pay $100 per chemo, $100 per radiation, and it can add up to be a lot of money, but it comes after. So it's nice to combine both those policies, because that helps with your insurance. You also talk about your insurance is very limited on health insurance, whether it pays for experimental. You could really be in that gray area where an aggressive cancer could really help with something experimental. Well, sign me up, and you got to have that money. So the average out-of-pocket expense is about $11,000 for a cancer diagnosis with insurance.
Just the diagnosis?
Well, and the treatment.
Oh my God.
Yes. So the out-of-pocket expense for a treatment for a cancer. Now, of course, mine was the good one, you know, surgery, home, back to work in 3 weeks, no big deal. But then you have those, and then you have the extreme. I have a friend that had breast cancer and had it come back a second time, but she just chose the removal of the lump, and because it was caught early. But again, a chemo treatment can really put you down for a while.
And then it's so devastating. Sophia Dallas says that emotionally, you really have to have, and you really need an advocate. You need to, I mean, everybody doesn't have faith. Everybody doesn't believe. People believe that they're going to die.
Yes. And depending on how well your doctor is, you know, I was very fortunate to have a very good doctor who explained things at my level. So many times I've heard women talk about their experience, and it's like, I can't believe he said that. And I know they want to try to freak you out to get you to have a test, but, you know, don't use the C word unless you really mean it. And so sometimes the biopsy is just that. They don't know until they do it. Don't put it off, and don't hesitate to ask for a second opinion. I'm sure Miss Dallas can tell you second opinions, or don't be afraid. Your health insurance will pay for those. And sometimes third opinions.
Okay. So what do you have to say about that, Dallas?
I definitely, that second and third opinion, that comes into play, and I'm speaking from my own experience, definitely. When you have an advocate. If you are a first-time breast cancer patient, you don't even think about a second and third opinion.
No, you don't.
You do exactly what I did. Cut them off, because I'm not partial. and let's get busy.
Okay.
But some people can't even cut them off
Mm-hmm.
because they are about cosmetics.
Right.
And that is a big another mental step that you have to go through. And like you were saying, the advocacy and the mentor, having that support system that's outside of the family, because see, that's consistent support,
Right.
not like family. And I was just listening to a broadcast on a breast cancer program site, and they were saying one of the biggest things, and I talk about it, but when you hear it, that many people lose family along the way.
I bet they do. Right.
Because the caregiver doesn't know how to respond.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All they know, like we said earlier, cancer equals death. Oh, my mom's gonna die. Oh my goodness, who's gonna take care of these kids? Especially me now. I love
and
you.
Who's going to want to love me if I've lost my breast? Yes.
And my one client, she did lose her spouse.
Oh.
He left because he was cosmetic.
Right.
And he couldn't handle the holding the head.
Right.
You know, the frail body, the different things. So it is so imperative. And what they're saying is true.
Right. So do men, we didn't answer this question, do men, are they susceptible to breast cancer as well?
Most definitely. They're in the small percentile, but they are definitely susceptible to it. And that's one of the things that, you know, we talk about, you know, family history. You know, listen, push your primary care doctor. You have a deep family history, push your primary care doctor, because what you want to do is get a genetic testing.
Okay.
You know, especially like you were saying, Debbie, I saw this in my family, and it kept, I saw this and saw this. So the one thing you definitely want to check is genetic testing.
Okay.
Because one of the two biggest tests, it's called BRCA. And what BRCA, they have a 1 and 2, and BRCA can be passed down to your children, male or female.
Oh, really?
And it is the genetic in you.
Right.
That you carry that A cancer gene. Okay. And that cancer gene can be any form of cancer. For men, they usually more see it in testicular, prostate, and colon. Women, we see it up here. Our hormones lie up here. You know how they said we carry everything.
Oh, yeah.
Down here, but those hormones, you know, they tune in up here. You know, so you definitely want to get genetic testing if you do have a lot of family history of that.
Okay, well, let's get to this next question. It says, what do you think about this, Debbie? My son thinks I lack faith taking chemo treatments. I'm not sure what they mean by that.
I know.
What do you think, Debbie?
Well, I think, you know, they're probably saying that if you lack faith, so you're taking the chemo treatment, that God will heal you. Well, you know, I think sometimes God will heal you by putting the people in your path for treatment.
Okay.
So I hear that sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I tell you what, I appreciate both of you ladies. Oh my gosh. I wanted to ask you, Sophia, about your breast cancer 365 and beyond gala, because I believe, was it the week that the hurricane was coming?
Yeah, so the breast cancer gala was canceled.
Oh, it was?
Yes, the city shut down due to the hurricane, and they had damages everywhere. They needed to use the facility to house people they were rescuing. So the gala has been rescheduled to December 10th. Because we coordinate with the caterer. So I'll start re-advertising that in about another week. You know, I try to do something 45 days out. So somebody said, oh, that's not breast cancer, man. It's not random breast cancer. So it all, you know, God has a purpose and a reasoning for things.
You're right.
The gala is called Breast Cancer 365 and Beyond.
It is.
Breast cancer period is 365 days a year.
Yes.
And so there is no need to say, I have to do this in October.
Right. That is so true.
So it'll be another
and not only that, but what was I going to say about it? Cancer, like you say, I know what I was going to say. You also have to recover from the radiation and the chemo treatment. Is that right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
the post-op of those things
Mhm.
can be just as rough, if not rougher, than during the process.
Wow.
Because some people lose their fingernails, their toenails.
Mhm.
Uh, if you ever lost a toenail, trying to
It's
get it back is not cute.
it's a long process.
I'm going to a specialist Saturday, a
Uh-huh.
podiatrist specialist that's certified in reconstruction of your feet.
Really?
And because I can hit something,
Uh-huh.
and boy, that toenail's gonna die within a week.
Really? Wow.
And
So
those are the
Debbie,
side effects.
so let me ask you this, Debbie. What would the prices, I mean, what would the cost be of getting a cancer policy?
Oh, it is strictly based on your age. So if you
Oh.
start young, so
Mhm.
if I'd have started at 40,
Mhm.
I probably could have paid $15 a month for a treatment plan. Um, in your 50s, right now, I have a $20,000 first diagnosis plan.
Okay.
When I got that at age 52, it cost me $27 a month.
Okay.
So, you find your budget, you find what works for you. And yeah, I mean, they can be very inexpensive,
Mhm.
especially the younger you start. Um, it could be 36, 54 as you season and get a little older. After
Yeah.
60, 65, the price goes up. But
Right.
it's actually very well worth it.
Mhm.
Statistically, after age 65, your chances of getting any type of cancer increases from 65 to 72.
Oh, Jesus, really?
I saw more women in that age range
Uh-huh.
going
Yep.
through treatment, going through reconstruction, and I'm looking,
Really?
you in reconstruction? She was like, yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna go run right now. I'm like, okay. But
oh
yes, I saw a lot of women in that age range.
okay.
In the
So we need to talk, Debbie. I may need to get me I need to
Yep.
talk about that for sure. Because
Yes.
I'm 67 and as you say, it's not too late.
Yeah. And
It's
something's
nothing
better
to
than nothing. You
Right.
you can opt for the treatment plan. It's less expensive,
Mhm.
or a first diagnosis, or what I recommend for a lot of people is get a little bit of both, so that you
Mhm.
got a little money coming on the front side and a
Right.
little bit of money coming on the back side, and there's that happy medium.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And don't forget about our MASA plan. Unfortunately, I know a
Mhm.
lot of women going through chemo, especially if they're at home, they
Mhm.
may be hesitant to call an ambulance when they really need one. And
Uh-huh.
those expenses for ground ambulance can add up.
Yes.
So,
400 some bucks a pop.
yeah, and let's just say
Yes.
you have no medical insurance. Well,
Mm.
guess what? You can
What?
still get a supplemental policy. MASA, let's say you're going through cancer right now.
Mhm.
MASA, there are zero medical questions. The only catch is
Mhm.
it doesn't pay for pre-existing conditions for the first 60 days. So, it's a little hard for someone going right through it, but let's say you just got diagnosed,
Mhm.
you can still get it and still get covered. So there's no medical questions on our ground, air, and ambulance plans. So it's a
Oh,
great
wow. That
thing to
sounds like a
think
great
about.
idea. That sounds very, very useful. Thank you so much for offering that. Now, Sophia Marie Dallas, I want to make absolutely sure that you post your new flyer for Breast Cancer 365 and Beyond Gala. You know where? On
Yes, ma'am.
BelieveBusinessWomen.com website on our events page,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I really enjoyed um here's yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed, yeah, promoting that before. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
thank you. I appreciate it. Yes,
Yeah,
it's going to be really enjoyable. It's a time, it's not just for breast cancer patients, it's for
right.
the community. It's for
Exactly.
the community to be enlightened and informed of what's going on. Make the community more open to talk about it.
Right.
I think, you looking at your Facebook pages and different things. I've seen women and they've been in their 30s and 20s the last 3 months dying
Mhm.
from breast cancer.
Oh, and I'm so sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. Like I said, I have currently have 3 church members. One of
Okay.
them has already completed her radiation.
Great.
She did lose her hair, but I tell you, her faith was just up to here. It was just way up to here, and she didn't let it overcome her. You know, the fear, she just didn't let it overcome her. As a matter of fact, she tells us that one of the best parts for her was being under the anesthesia, because once you wake up, it's over. You and then another one of my members has had to have multiple surgeries on the same breast, and then the other one has just gotten diagnosed.
Okay.
And so you know, we just stand on the word, and we believe strongly that that they can survive it, that they are going to overcome it. I mean, we all go through pain. I mean, that's just something that we have to live with. I stubbed my toe and I'm still crying over it. Because there's nothing you can't put anything on it to make it feel better. You just got to wait a few days and try not to stub it again.
Yeah, definitely that. And you know, that goes back to the question earlier, you know, about the gentleman, about his mom.
Yes.
So my nonprofit has this question.
Yes, sisters supporting sisters.
What we do as a nonprofit, we outreach on a monthly basis. We try to go to local churches, women's groups, health fairs. And what we do, we set up and we reach out to women, educating them about early detection, educating them about at risk, those women that are under 40. We also come out and seek out the women who are 40 and above and do not have health care insurance to get them a mammogram. Don't go without the mammogram. There's no reason, no woman 40 and above should go without the mammogram. If you have the primary care doctor, get the script. Listen, if you don't, we gonna help you get one.
Right, exactly.
You need a primary. We gonna help you. And so we want to minimize the occurrence and reoccurrence of cancer, the late diagnosis. As Debbie said, the good cancer.
Right.
It has their own verbiage.
Right.
We caught it early. It's zero cancer. Because it was caught so early. You have longer longevity, and now we know how to treat you going forward.
Right.
And so that is what we do. We are not national. We do not have sub-chapters. Organization is going on 1 year old, but I'm telling you, you wouldn't think it the way that we are out there. We're out there at food drives during this hurricane. We're helping people empty out their houses. Our help and what we do in the community, it does not always have to deal with cancer.
Exactly.
If you are a true nonprofit, you are a foundation of faith. And guess what? You're supposed to be in your community. You're supposed to be helping people during this time.
That's exactly right.
We've been doing in between my clients. Last week, Monday, food drive. Tuesday, last client's chemo. So we celebrated that. I dressed up in a pink wig and a fairy and tutu and pranced around the chemo room. And everyone loved it. And Wednesday, my client, third treatment. Back again Saturday, I was back at another drive. So it never stops. And so I want to do all that I can do to help my community, whether it has to do with breast cancer or not. Because those people sometimes become your biggest supporters.
Absolutely. That is so true.
Your biggest supporters because you did something from the heart.
Yes.
No expectations of anything in return.
Exactly.
No need for recognition or anything of that nature. So as my nephew would tell me, he says, "Auntie, you are popping." And I was like, popping? I'm looking at my strap on my t-shirt. Popping. He's like, Auntie, that means, you're doing things. Oh, okay, I'm popping.
Okay, so
listen,
Debbie Scarborough has a brand new show. She has her own show. My show you're on tonight is called So What's the Problem? TV show. So, Debbie Scarborough, go ahead and tell us about your show.
Well, my show is Insurance Chats with Debbie.
Okay.
Insurance doesn't matter until it does.
Right.
And yes, it doesn't matter if you live in Michigan, California, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. Call me and you can get a message.
There you go. Insurance doesn't matter until it does. Debbie is live on Facebook Saturdays at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can send an email to debbie.scarborough@amba.info, I-N-F-O. An insurance chat with Debbie. Well, Debbie Scarborough, I am so proud of you for stepping out and promoting AMBA and your own business. You may want to invite Miss Sophia Dallas as a guest on your show.
I think that sounds good.
I think that's good. And me and Debbie are going to be networking because every time I talk to Debbie, listen, I learn more and more about the area I work in, you know, for my organization. And I feel like the more knowledge that is God has given me, I release it so I can get more. And Debbie is always a plethora of information.
We'll be back in just a moment, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, it's time for me to promote my sister's business. It's called Family Dentistry of Daytona Beach, LLC. And she has dental tips each week on my show. Today's dental tip is to rinse, floss, and then brush in that order. Rinse, floss, and then brush. Rinsing helps loosen the bacteria between your teeth. Flossing removes the food between your teeth. And of course, brushing cleans your teeth and makes your mouth fresh and clean. Family Dentistry of Daytona Beach, LLC is located here in Daytona Beach at 244 North Frederick Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida. Please call 386-255-0538 for your appointment. Thank you, Dr. Quarterman. The book tour is coming to Southfield, Michigan. That is Angie B's Productions, and she's bringing the Confinement Chronicles. It's Saturday, December 3rd. You may join us for networking. There are going to be lots of authors there, and we're offering free gifts for all attendees. For registration, please call or text this number, 248-702-5559. Save the date. It's Saturday, December 3rd, 2022 in Southfield, Michigan. As you know, that's the holiday season, so bring your family and shop for the holidays.
So advisory is highly recommended before listening to this audiobook. Sexual content is included. Confinement Chronicles, the inspirational audiobook series produced by Angie B Productions, is now emerging from the curve in 2021. You are now listening to Volume 2 in this series, and it is entitled The Single Saved Struggle. Our next story is titled The Value of Virginity, and it was written by Loretha Simon. Whether your virginity was stolen or consensual, virginity is valuable and still has its place in our society. My virginity was stolen. What is a virgin? The very first mention of the word virgin in Genesis chapter 24, verse 16. The woman Rebecca was very beautiful, a virgin. No man had ever slept with her.
All right, ladies, I have some breast cancer facts I'd like to share. As you know, breast cancer is a disease in which malignant cancer cells form in the tissues of the breast. 1 in 8 women in the United States of America will develop breast cancer in her lifetime. In 2022, an estimated 287,500 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed in women in the United States, as well as 51,400 new cases of non-invasive breast cancer. So please do get your breast cancer exam. As Sophia Dallas says, you want to examine your breast on the date of your birth every month. And when you go to get your breast cancer exam, be sure to ask for the self-exam card that you may keep displayed in your bathroom. I'd like to thank Debbie Scarborough of AMBA. She's a benefits representative, and you may join her on her own show, An Insurance Chat with Debbie, on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on Facebook Live. I'd also love to thank Sophia Marie Dallas. She is an advocate for her community, and her group is called Sisters Supporting Sisters. You may search for her on Facebook. She is very active. So thanks everyone for joining me. I'll see you again next Thursday at 7 p.m. as we continue to discuss breast cancer with breast cancer survivors and advocates. Thanks again. I'll see you soon. Bye now.
You see, there's just one thing I would like to know. What's the problem? What's the problem? Tell me, what's your problem? So what's the problem? Five, four, three, two, one. What's the problem? Tell me, what's the problem? So what's the problem? Tell me. Five, four, three, two, one. So what's the problem? Tell me. I wanna know. Oh, tell me. So what's the problem? I wanna know. Oh, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what's the problem? Tell me. I wants to know.